was still playing around with the fluted stuff.
Wow.
And finally came up with a jig. Jeff Salter had a jig, and I liked that, made that. And
I like the finial. It's a pretty finial.
Yeah, thanks.
Very nice.
It fits really well.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Turned out pretty good.
Fluting on that came out really good, Bob.
Yeah, I like them. Here's the second one I made, but they're a little thick. They're a little still a little heavy, but anyway, they still turned out fine.
Real nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I got some pictures of the jig if y'all would like to see it. I don't know if anybody's interested.
I'm interested.
Imagine
Okay.
nobody being interested.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen here, and I'll.
Go ahead.
You're up. All right. Let me. I forgot how you do this, Dane. What do I click on?
Share screen, and then you click on whatever the image is.
Oh, share down here. Is that it? There we go.
Yep. Green button. There you go.
You didn't forget how to do it. You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob had a dry run earlier.
That's right. Yeah. There's
What kind of finish? What kind of finish is that?
That's that spray lacquer. It's actually not DEF. It's the
Minwax. Minwax.
No. It's a regular paint. You buy it Home Depot. Rust-Oleum. There you go, Rust-Oleum. I like it better than the DEF. It seems like it's harder. The DEF, I have trouble with it after you put it on, it all looks good, and you set it down somewhere, and you come back in 2 weeks and it's kind of stuck, to the bottom. So anyway, I'm not real crazy about that anymore, but I do like this one. This one seems to work.
I have to try that.
Here's the actual jig. It's a platform, that you can put on your banjo or whatever. And it uses a 16th inch cable, just a steel cable. And some, these are bearings or the screen door bearings. I had some smaller ones. I found some on Amazon, and I thought they'd work, but they were really too little. I didn't like them, so I went back to these.
I'd love to see a design document or some kind of schematic or something. I'd even love to see how I did this video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do a video, but maybe I don't know. See if I can try something here. The router, hangs in over here. This is a coupling, like a 1/4 inch rod coupling. It's like a nut, but it's about 1 inch long. This over here is just 2 washers, and this is how you tie the cables together. You slide this thing back and tighten the cable up, and then when you get this little jig tight, and then you slide this back toward the corner, and it tightens everything up. This is an index wheel up here on the end, and just a platen. The platen is tied, it is loose. That the platen and the cable are what are all tied together. The index wheel is, of course, tight to the shaft of the headstock, and you're turning the deal you're going to turn. So when you want this thing to move, you turn the index wheel. You turn this whole platen, 2 pieces. You actually pin them together so that you can index it and move it wherever you want to. But you pin them together, and then you turn this a half a turn or whatever you get. This one here is
your index wheel is pinned to your platen. Is that correct?
Yeah. Let me go through another picture here, and whoops, wrong way. Whoops, let me back up one. So you can see where the cables are coming around. I put some stops on here so I know where to stop each time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And the router, like I said, hangs onto the front end of this thing, sits on a 1/4 inch bolt off the base of that router. Wrong way. See, here's the 1/4 inch bolt, it slips over. And so when you turn it, you don't, I kept trying to to move the router, and that's not what you need to move. You need to move the wheel. Turn this wheel, which turns everything, and the router is going to move because he's tied to that cable. So the router just going to slide straight across here. The distance that you travel is like right here, I measured from that corner to this. So that's probably, looking at my vase here, that's probably 6 inches. So you go back to this little wheel in here that the cable's actually wrapped around, and you say, okay, well, I've got to go 6 inches and a half a turn, or 6 inches and a quarter of a turn. And that's how you figure out what size this wheel needs to be that the cable actually wraps around.
Does the cable tension on the router pull the router into the piece? How does it follow the contours of your piece?
No, you do. You push it into the piece.
Okay, thanks.
It's pretty tight, but there's still enough slop here that you can push it around the piece.
Okay.
These little white things here, rubber stoppers, are depth gauge, so you don't go too far into it.
Oh, I see those. Okay.
I got you.
Which direction am I going? Not going the wrong way.
How are you resetting your router position? Obviously, you got to loosen up that cable when you make that turn. How are you loosening everything back up?
No, I don't.
Reposition it.
Yeah, I really don't loosen the cable. I just pull it back to this dead position here. Start right here, and then I turn this wheel. And when I do
turn the
that,
wheel.
yeah, actually I'd be going the other direction, but it would make the router go that direction down this board. Okay, and then when I get ready to start again, well, I turn the wheel back to where he's at the dead stop again, or at the top, and all of this is back up against this end. And then I loosen this index wheel, this pin, to this piece right here. So you loosen up you undo the pin, and you turn the index wheel, which in turn turns the wood piece, and yet your cable stays where it was. So your cable's stationary, and you turn the platen or the index wheel and your stock to the next 20 degrees or whatever it is, and then you pin it again. And then you do the same process. You turn the router on and turn these two together, which makes the cable move, and the router is going to just get dragged along with it. So you got to
how do you control the depth when you get to your piece of you're working on? How do you control the depth, especially as it cones around?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I wanted it to kind of go off the end, not necessarily be the same depth on the ends. You know, like right here, I wanted it to kind of taper off, so I didn't turn it into it. And the little white things are pushing up against the side of the wood. And the little stoppers I had, one on each side, it pushes up against the side of the wood as it slides along, and it keeps it a pretty good depth. I mean, it keeps it about the same all the way across there.
Yeah, flip back to your pick with the stoppers on it, Bob.
Yeah, let's see here. There's one right there.
The little white thingy?
Yeah, these little white things, those are, I had trouble finding them, but I actually got the little door stops, you know, to keep the door from swinging all the way open.
Yeah.
You put that on the hinge. That's what it's made for. It's got another little piece that you stick on the hinge, and this thing keeps the door from slapping up against the cabinet or something, whatever you can stop the door wherever you want to from opening too far. So anyway, I threw all the rest of it away, just kept these little threaded deals with the white stoppers on the end. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but that was the easiest thing I found. Let's see, there was that one. Nope, I'm going backwards. Let me go back one more time. That one, just a different view. But again, you know, this board and this are tied together. I actually have them pinned together. So I can change this. I want to be able to change this, the diameter of this thing so that I can change how far it moves down sideways, down linear down this board, you know, down this thing right here, this track. So that's what determines how far you move down the track. If I had a lamp in here and I want it to be 12 inches, then I'd want it to move 12 inches down this T-track. And to get 12 inches, I have to figure out how much diameter, I mean, you know, the circumference around this thing, what is 12 inches? Is that a halfway around? Or is it only a quarter of a turn and I get 12 inches? So if you had a big wheel out here, let's say it's 15 inches times 3, you know, point whatever it is, and you can tell how far it's going to move in a half a turn or a quarter of a turn. How much cable is going to come off that reel. So in this case, I only had I think it's about a 3-inch deal here, and I only wanted to move 6 inches. So you had to figure out how big this reel needed to be to get it to go linearly down the side of this. You're 6 inches.
So you want to move that cable that the router is hooked on right now would have to move to our right.
That's correct. The 6 inches. Whatever the distance you want it to go. If I wanted to go from there to here, if that's 6 inches, and that's as far as you want that cable to move, is 6 inches.
About 2 to 1.
Okay.
And it's 6 inches coming off of this wheel. You know, so it would move, this wheel would turn and you'd get 6 inches of cable off that wheel, which would allow it to slide down 6 inches.
They said there's a plan for the system online. Gerald Jensen just posted it to chat. So folks, if you want to build one, there's a formal set of plans out available. That is a nifty
I see it. I see it as a DVD on Packard Woodworks site, not necessarily plans, but I suppose it's the same thing. So
it is. It's the same thing. That's what I actually did. I bought those plans from Jeff Salter.
That's who's been mentioned in the chat.
I'm not looking at the chat, but I'm sure it's
Yeah, somebody put it in the chat.
It's the only one I've seen do this. I mean, there's another guy that does it, but it's not exactly the same. He uses printer ribbon cable. It's like a track.
Yeah.
And he does it with that, and that looked really good, and I almost did it. And then I thought, well, no, this has a little more flexibility. I can actually move the router with this cable. I can actually move the router around a little bit.
right.
It looks like 90% of your parts could come from the hardware store, isn't it right?
Oh yeah, all of these just come out of the hardware store or cheap. You know, it's cheap. I think I've got $30 in it. Other than this router, this was a Harbor Freight router, and that's what he used. He used a Harbor Freight router and hooked this jig up like this.
I was looking at those this morning. That's also $30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This little thing is not but $30-something, and it's, you know, cheap router. But
it's
it
29 something.
Yeah, it gives you the ability, and this didn't work. That thing's worthless, but that's okay. You can loosen it up and move the router in and out, you know, so, but anyway, it worked good for what I wanted it for. You remember the first one I tried, I've forgotten who else on here had talked about it, where he used a weight that went down one side. And that worked too.
Yeah.
You know, if you wrap the three times around this, so it would have a good grip around this wheel with that cable, the weight down here would pull it back. But doing that, you know, thinking back on what I did, I tried to move the router, and I shouldn't have. I should have been moving the wheel all the time, just like I did on this one. You know, turn the wheel and just let the router follow. But in that scenario, you'd have to keep constant tension on this end of the cable with the router. You'd have to have your hand would be putting the tension on this router to keep that cable stiff,
Yes, I do.
Or this way you don't have to worry about it. Everything is tight. It's not going to go anywhere except for in this linear direction. But anyway, it worked real good for me. I was
Yeah, very, very nice results.
Yeah, I think it turned out great. I didn't in this. I was afraid of this. I don't like to carve a lot, but that really sanded out pretty good. I put it those little foam sanding pads. You normally put them in a drill. Well, I put them in my drill press and used and I could move the wood rather than moving the sandpaper. And
yeah, you could have good control over it. Yeah,
that it had good control over it. And these things sanded down real easy. It might have taken me an hour to sand the whole thing, but it turned out good.
I really like how things finished on the bottom there. That looks like it's real consistent and stuff.
Yeah, it was. It turned out really good.
Yep.
Now
Very
this,
nice.
yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, let me go back to, there they are. But they did. I think they turned out real nice. What I want to do next, I guess, is to make a longer vase, maybe a skinnier neck on one end, just to play with it. But all of these things, how many are you going to make? That's the problem. But it didn't cost a whole lot, and I enjoyed making them. So
That's the main thing.
yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Well, thanks. I
I
appreciate
think
it.
we should get a demo.
I wish I had a way to do that. I just don't know how to do it. And I guess I could figure out some way.
Like everyone's saying, you could do it with a phone. So
Yeah, that's what I'm using here is my phone, but maybe I don't know.
Just get one of your mates around to hold the phone, and
There
he
you
can
go.
follow your process. And
Yeah,
you
there you
just do
go.
it like you normally do it.
Yeah, but
I'd be happy to run a Zoom with you, Bob, if you wanted to test it out and try it.
okay.
I want to know this enough. If
Yeah.
I'm happy to help you get it figured out.
All right. Well, I might take you up on that, Matt.
Okay.
But do I just keep this same session going up on the PC and try to take the phone out in the garage, or?
Well, you can, however you're doing it, if you want to run it directly through your phone, you can do it right through your phone.
So I could do the Zoom through the phone.
Yeah,
Right.
I've got Zoom on my phone too, and if for some reason I have a bad connection, I can do it right through my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll try that then. I don't know. But yeah, I might
Yep.
hit you up, see if we can get something going on that.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
really like
that's
to
great.
see this in action.
But thanks, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed doing it. I thought that turned out pretty good.
All right, appreciate it.
It certainly did.
All right. Let's
Back
bring
in
up
the
John.
day, Sears sold a router lathe that you could do spirals like that.
Yeah.
In the chat, I put a link to a video.
Yeah, their Sears had one, and I don't know if they still have it or not, but I've seen, when the
They're
first
hard
one
about
did this, there were a lot of comments on the Sears one.
I had one a long time ago. It was a nice toy. I was trying to do too much commercial work with it, but it was nice. For fooling around on stuff like we do, it'd be great. And we could probably find one on eBay or something like that. So if you find one, let's know about it. Okay.